What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Existential Stoic podcast. Quick fix number 39, being more charismatic. I'm Randy. That's my buddy, Danny. How's it going, Danny?
What's up, Randy?
Yeah, so today we're talking about being more charismatic. I think being charismatic is important. People like charismatic people, right?
Charisma is essential, right? I mean, everybody likes it, and it gets you, it's attractive to people, I think. In a lot of different contexts too, whether it's like business, whether it's relationships. I think those kind of people, we usually think of them as magnetic, right? And they tend to get things done. So yeah, it's really important.
Yeah, it was also a character trait in Dungeons and Dragons. There was like strength, dexterity, charisma.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right, right. Oh, isn't it? It's funny you mentioned that. Actually, that's in I think it's in like Skyrim. All those games have that, don't they? Because it's like your ability to interact. I mean, because usually, I think it's funny. It's a good point though that it's in role playing games, right? It's that ability to interact with others, to get them to do what you want, and to be, I guess looked at as a source for things. So that's good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Well, it's cool because it's something you can take with you. Like when you learn how to be charismatic, no matter where you go and no matter what situations, it's something that can't be taken away from you. You can always be charismatic. You can always have people drawn to you because of who you are. So that's a really nice thing about it.
Yeah, it's like a tool that comes in handy at all times. Yeah,
Bingo. Bingo. So that being said, we're each going to give 3 quick tips for how to be more charismatic. So I'll start because it's, I introduced this week. So my first one is be the type of person you desire. And so like I learned this kind of in the dating realm because I spent like a lot of time studying that area, but it's like create yourself as the person who you would want to date or something like that, because that way you're that type of person. You're probably going to attract that type of person as well. So like when you want to be a charismatic person, or when you want to attract wealthy people, you have to be the type of person who attracts wealthy people. Or if you want to attract sexy ladies, you need to be the type of person who attracts sexy ladies. So all of those things are somewhat important.
I like that too, because it kind of gets you by phrasing it that way as being the person that you desire. It kind of gets you to think too about like, well, what would I want the other person to be like, or what would I think, a magnetic person would look like in this situation, and that gives you some framework to work with too. I like that. It kind of keeps it practical. Yeah.
And I kind of think of it in the other way too, like whatever you want from the universe, give to the universe, because like you can't give without getting. And so like whenever I feel lonely, like I go out into the universe. So like I give it that, or whenever I want more money, I give more money, or when I want more love, I give more love. And it's just like it creates that, at least I believe it creates that cycle. And whatever you create kind of comes back to you. So if you want to be that charismatic person, you create it and bring it back to yourself.
No, that's a great way to think, right? Because it's like it's always that balance. And I think you're always keeping that balance in mind. And like you're right, if you're lonely, go out, right? And you won't be lonely. If if you put more money out there, you'll probably get more. Like it's true though, right? If I think that's a great way to think about it. How's it going? So my first one's kind of sort of similar in a way, but it's be you. So the emphasis on self-confidence. I think that we forget this, but we tend to be drawn to people that seem confident or are confident, particularly when they are not just seen, but whatever. You can always fake it first. But that idea of self-confidence, of being sure of yourself, I think is just attractive to most people because we tend to think of someone who, knows what they're doing, they're intentional, they're sure of themselves. There's no like sort of dilly-dallying or, like kind of like wavering back and forth, and they know who they are. And that's, for most of us, that's an appealing trait, right?
Yeah. And I think also with what you're saying there is like kind of believing in yourself, and you see that in people. And oftentimes that's something that you want. You see that in them and you're like, wow, I really like that. How can I get some of that? So I think that's a really awesome thing. Kind of similar to my next one, which is stop caring what others think. So I have this friend that is just like, he honestly does not care at all what other people think, and not in an obnoxious way or anything like that. But he's like so busy living his own life that it could literally like he just doesn't care. And so it's so awesome. Like I'm so attracted to that because it's like, how can I do that? Because even though I don't care what people think most of the time, there's still some things that's like, so yeah. And I think when you get to that space where you just don't care what other people think, they're like, well, either people are going to think you're obnoxious or they're going to be really attracted to you.
It's funny. That could be like, I think that one tip could be literally on everything. Right? It's just stop care, don't care what other people think. Because honestly, like that's the quickest. I mean, that's the only way to get to really living your own life, right? And being authentic and being confident and being charismatic. I think they all go together in that sense. I like that one. That's really good. My next one's kind of a little bit more kind of on a practical side, but it's when you're trying to practice to be more charismatic, ask questions about the other person when you're in conversations. Let them talk. I think we have a tendency to want to fill empty space with words. We want to make noise, but actually, I think you'll find that if you ask people about themselves, people love talking about themselves. They feel good when they do, and it'll reflect positively on you. It really does. It's funny.
Yeah, that's a really great one. I remember reading about that in, I think it was How to Win Friends and Influence People, where some guy went to a party and he started talking with someone, and basically he just kept asking them questions. And at the end of the party, they were like, "Oh, he's such a great conversationalist. I had a wonderful time talking to him." And he's like, "I didn't say anything." She talked the whole time. So, but it's like it's such a great thing because it gives people that attention that they want. Everybody wants to like feel like they have other people's attention, and when you ask them
Yeah,
questions and you listen, that's what it gives
it's
them.
amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. It keeps it going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. So my last one is have an attitude of service first. So like we see all these leaders, and the best ones become leaders because of like how much they give. At least I think so. Like we see people I mean, and it's just like this idea of service first. Like everybody has this idea of what's in it for me. So if you can be different than that, if you can be like, hey, listen, this is for you. Like everything that I have, I'm doing it for you. This is service first. I want to benefit your life. You're going to stand out so much more because everybody else is trying to consume as much as possible, and you're just giving it all away. And all of a sudden, everybody's just going to be like, "Oh, I need more of that. How can I get more of
Yeah.
it?"
I like that too, though, because it also it means you're more aware too of the world around you and others and what's needed. And that makes you also more appealing, right? Because you're more conscious. You're not just thinking about yourself in that way. And I think that's a good one. I like it a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That goes kind of with my last one too, which is so my last one's be dependable and certain. Have a yes and no. And I think this is another crucial part about being charismatic. It's also knowing what you want, knowing when to say yes and no, being confident when you say it or certain when you say it, right? That you're not this sort of ambiguous sort of or in between person. You know what you're doing and you know what you want and you go get it. And I think there is something very appealing about that. A lot of people that we sort of I think idolize are folks like that. So I think it's worthwhile to consider this idea as practicing. When do I say yes? When do I say no? How do I use these? And how do they express my values?
That's a really good one because you look at a lot of the greatest leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. or Abraham Lincoln or
Yeah.
different people like that, and they all had very clear boundaries, like what was yes and what was no. And because of that, people respected them a lot more, and I think we're more drawn to them.
Well, and in times like that too, where you're dealing with difficult changes, you need to have those boundaries, right? Otherwise, it's not going to work. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Yeah, so there you have it. Quick 3 fixes each for 6 total for episode 39. Quick fix of the Existential Stoic podcast, being more charismatic. I'm Randy. That's Danny. Listen on podcasts, watch on YouTube, and we will catch you guys later. Have a good one. Later, Danny.
Later, Randy.